About a week ago, Essex Police, in their wisdom, deployed a hollow spike tyre deflation system, commonly known as a stinger, against what they describe as an antisocial motorcyclist. I'm going to show you a little video clip of the incident, and I'm going to ask you to pay attention to the GSXR that's filtering about 20-25 miles an hour maximum, that ends up getting stung in the back wheel by 3 razor sharp hollow spikes. Have a look at this. Now, firstly, I'd like you to bear in mind the police officer who deployed this stinger had it in his hand ready to deploy, didn't he? So it can't really have been a spontaneous reaction to anything. He was going to deploy it anyway. He's got it in his hand, it's ready to deploy. The way he does deploy it looks like he's lost his rag with the Gixxer, the blue Suzuki that's filtering. So it does look like there's an air of malice in that. But the bottom line is he's got it out and he's ready to deploy it as a roadblock anyway. That's pretty much the story that the pictures tell. I was at North Weald Airfield one day with training with Stunt Asylum. They do wheelie and stoppie schools, among other things. And did a little run up and down this runway on a quad bike. And one of my wheels quickly deflated. We had a look at it, pulled this spike out, this hollow spike, and the first thing that hit me is just how evil the actual sharp, razor sharp spike was. And when I handed it to the guy that runs Stunt Asylum, he dropped it like hot shit. How did it get there? Well, I'm told that Essex Police, the force in question, do their stinger training at North Weald Airfield. So obviously, it's one they left behind in their negligence before, from a training exercise, by all accounts. So you don't have to be a criminal or an antisocial motorcyclist to have experienced these things. So the first thing that struck me is, on handling one of these little spikes, they're obviously loose. They obviously fly off the actual stinger itself, which is what they're designed to do. And there are 180 of them. So, can you imagine sliding off a motorcycle where there's a stinger deployed across a road and rolling on top of these 187 razor sharp spikes that are hollow? Can you imagine how quickly it would take you to bleed to death? The officer deploying the stinger should be wearing high-vis, should be wearing safety glasses and safety gloves. Clearly that didn't happen in the video clip we've seen. So I've done further research into these stingers, and I found the website of one of the stinger manufacturers. I believe the original designer, the original manufacturer, the people that patented Stinger, is a company called Federal Signal Inc. in the US of A. I found their training manual, read their training manual, very interesting read, and lo and behold, there's a huge disclaimer in bold that says Stinger was designed to safely stop 4 or more wheeled vehicles. It explicitly then says in bold, the use of Stinger is not recommended against motorcycles except where deadly force can be justified. So again, that would be a scenario like somebody on a stolen scooter going around throwing acid at people. Okay, that justifies deadly force. You can justify that, that's proportionate. But antisocial motorcyclists, I've been on rides with groups. What's it going to take one old dear to phone the police up and say, oh, there's a gang of bikers in my little village, come at once? The cops turn up with stingers because they've had reports of antisocial behaviour and are therefore justified in using deadly force. Is that what we're going to see? Is it? So half the motorcycle community, who's frustrated that 600% rise in bike crime, can't get insurance in London anymore on a bike. We're being practically taxed off the streets. So half the community is going, yeah, hey, about time, go on police, stinger these fuckers. The other half of the community is saying, hang about, what if that stinger gets wrapped around a biker's leg? They're designed for cars, not for bikes. What if those projectiles fly off that stinger into the face of those kids who are crossing the road? They're not designed for use on motorbikes. What if a biker hits his front brake, lies his bike down and rolls over that, seeing it deployed? He's going to bleed to death in a matter of seconds. So who's wrong and who's right? So the following day, a very senior female officer from Essex Police, who says she authorised the use of stinger in this particular case, came out on social media. She made a nice little video and defended the use of stinger, defended the officer, who apparently he'd had pictures of him spread on social media, and she said, that's not fair. And she went on to say that the use of stinger is changing, and basically told the world that they can now deploy stinger against motorcycles. And the killer line she used, and I emphasise killer, is I can confirm that stinger is tested for safe use against motorcycles.
Over the bank holiday, we policed a motorcycle event in Southend. The vast majority of people who came to the event were responsible and enjoyed a great day out. A tiny number of people behaved antisocially or dangerously, and it's our job to deal with that. As a result of some dangerous driving, I authorised one of my team to use a stinger device. His photo has been posted on Facebook, and abusive comments about him have been posted by individuals and Essex businesses without any moderation. That's unfair. The use of stinger is evolving to deal with different challenges on the roads, and I can confirm it is tested for safe use on motorcycles.
And I can confirm it is tested for safe use on motorcycles.
The use of the stinger was authorised and endorsed right up the chain of command in this operation.
Now how do you square that with the manufacturer's own stipulations that it's designed for 4 or more wheel vehicles and the use of it on 2-wheelers constitutes deadly force? You can't, can you? So what actually happened here? Well, I'll tell you what happened. This Shakedown event, apparently the cops asked for budget for policing it. The council said we have no budget, so the event was cancelled. A group of riders rode there anyway, so it was an unofficial event. That angered the police, who didn't get their budget, so they decided to police it with 1 officer and 1 stinger. What does the police code of ethics say about the use of force? It says a police officer can use force to prevent criminalities if it's justified and proportionate. Now there's no way on this earth you're telling me deploying 180 razor sharp spikes that if you roll over you're going to bleed to death, that can fly off and injure children on the promenade. There's no way you can tell me that deploying that to stop a filtering motorcyclist at 25 miles an hour, because you say it was antisocial, there's no way that you can say that is proportional in any sense, and there's no way you can justify it. Therefore, Rachel, this is an unlawful use of force. That's right, an unlawful, disproportionate use of force. But at the end of the day, when this goes to court, after one tragedy, they're going to get sued for a lot of money. But that's not going to help the biker's family. The biker that bleeds to death because he was filtering at 25 miles an hour on a bank holiday in a seaside town. So think about that, Rachel. So I think Stinger's going to go the same way. It's intended to be used against motorbikes if there's a terrorist with a suicide bomb on it, but it's going to be used against speeding bikers. It's going to be used against antisocial bikers, whatever that is. You know, anyone with a loud exhaust could end up with 180 spikes in them bleeding to death. Absolutely outrageous. Bikers, you've got to do something about this. If you live in Essex, write to your local MP. Get involved with MAG. Just get involved. You can't allow this.